guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Janelle. If you are already a subscriber, welcome back. Today I am going to do a quick small grocery haul as well as a cook with me. I am going to do a meal prep for breakfast, a meal prep for snack, as well as a meal prep for dinner. I haven't meal prepped for lunch in a while only because I usually just do something quick like a salad or a sandwich or soup. I am going to be doing a Whole30 breakfast casserole with some sausage and egg and some coconut milk yogurt, not coconut milk yogurt, coconut milk gravy. I'm going to do a seasoned chickpea snack, and then for dinner I'm going to do a spaghetti squash with some Italian sausage and kale. So make sure you watch until the end so that you can see the finished product, and stay tuned. Alright, so I am planning out our meals for this week. I'm going to go ahead and use my little meal planner schedule. I went ahead and I started out. So Sundays we don't normally actually cook a full dinner. We just usually eat any kind of leftovers or snacks for the day. Today is actually Monday, so I'm going to go ahead and make some chili beans we'll probably eat them with tortilla chips. Tomorrow I'm going to do some spaghetti squash with kale and sausage. Wednesday we're actually going to be at my mom's. Thursday we're going out with some friends. Friday I am going to make some pizza here at home. And then on Saturday we have an out-of-town birthday, so we won't be home for dinner. So this is what our grocery list looks like. So all of our breakfast items are on the left. All of our lunch items are on the right. I actually had quite a bit of groceries as it was, so we didn't have to get too much stuff. Our dinner items are in this middle box. And then I have our snacks and our miscellaneous in this bottom box. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting them all into a Walmart grocery pickup, and then later on we will go and get those picked up. Alright, today's grocery haul is actually quite small. I had quite a bit of ingredients that we already needed for any meal prep that we were doing this week, as well as just general meals for the week. So what I did is I went ahead and I did get some milk for the kids. So the kids do oatmeal every day, and Forrest also still drinks milk, so we go ahead and we get the organic whole milk. We got some half and half. Jonah does half and half for his coffee. I also got some orange juice. I always do the orange juice with calcium because Charlene doesn't like milk very much, and so at least I can get calcium into her system with some orange juice. I did pick up some American cheese. I use this when I make mac and cheese for the kids, and I always like to make sure that I have it on hand just in case they want macaroni and cheese. I got some frozen shredded hash browns. I'm actually going to use these for the Whole30 breakfast casserole. I got 2 things of breakfast sausage. I got fresh turkey breakfast sausage. This one I'm going to use for the breakfast casserole. And then I also got some Italian style turkey sausage. This one I'm going to use for the spaghetti squash and the kale tonight for dinner. I got a large yellow onion. I got a couple of lemons. I've been liking to put whole or like lemon slices in my water, especially now for the summer. It's really nice and fresh. I got 2 spaghetti squash. We're probably only going to use 1 tonight for dinner, but it'll be nice to have 1 on hand to use for another dinner time. I have some fresh kale. I still have that in the bag. It's actually a really big bunch and it was super cheap. So I got a big bunch of kale for dinner for tonight. I got 2 containers of blueberries. We've been eating a lot of blueberries. I did get this Imperial Dragon coconut milk. It is whole fat coconut milk. This is what I'm going to use to make the gravy for the breakfast casserole. I did get some grapes for snacks. We always have grapes on hand. I got some garbanzo beans or chickpeas, which I'm going to use to make a snack. And then I got some macaroni for macaroni and cheese, as well as we were out of olive oil. So I do like this Palm Pan extra light olive oil. It doesn't have a really strong olive taste, and so if you're trying to make a dressing with it, it's really good for that. So that is our grocery haul. Like I said, it's not too big, but I will go ahead and get into cooking. Alright, so I am going to prep the chickpeas to put them into the oven. So basically what I'm going to make is some roasted chickpeas, and they'll get nice and crispy, and I'm going to season them with the everything but the bagel seasoning. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to rinse, so drain and rinse your chickpeas. So what I am going to do is I'm going to just lay a paper towel down into my actual dish, my baking dish that I'm going to do. The trick to making them crispy is to make sure that they are nice and dry after you rinse them. So I'm going to go ahead and put them all into my dish. I'm going to kind of spread them out, and I want to pat them nice and dry. So the more moisture you can get off of them, the crispier they're going to be. This will also help you. I'll get one more paper towel. So from here, I want to peel off all the little skins. I don't know if you guys can see those. All the chickpeas have these little skins on them, so you want to try and peel as many of them as you can off. So I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more paper towels, and I'm just going to transfer these on to the dry paper towel. Make sure that they're nice and patted dry, and then we'll put them back into the baking dish. I'm just using a glass Pyrex pan that I have. I thought that would be perfect for it because the can of beans, the can of chickpeas, there aren't a lot of them, and I didn't want to use a whole entire cookie sheet. So just make sure that they're nice and dry. Kind of make sure that they're spread out nice and evenly. So I'm going to use some of that Palm Pan extra light olive oil. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit over the top, maybe a teaspoon, maybe. Just a little. And then I'm going to lightly salt them. Shake them around. Okay, so these are going to go into the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. However, before I put them in, I'm going to go ahead and prep our spaghetti squash, because the spaghetti squash has to be in at 400 as well. So I'm going to bake these both at the same time. So to get the spaghetti squash started, you're actually going to want to cut the spaghetti squash lengthwise. I'm going to go ahead and dig out all of the seeds that are inside. A spaghetti squash is kind of like a pumpkin, so it's going to have those big seeds in them. So if you scoop them all out, you're going to lay them flat onto a cookie sheet that I've already lined with some tin foil, and I'm going to spray it with some cooking spray. So you lay it face down onto the cookie sheet, and then it's going to bake in the oven between 35 and 40 minutes until it's soft and tender. A quick tip for cutting spaghetti squash is to pop it in the microwave for 5 minutes. That usually gets it just soft enough to be able to cut through it. However, when you're taking it out of the microwave, just be very careful. It gets super hot. Alright, so now that I have put our spaghetti squash in the microwave for about 5 minutes, I actually stopped the time a little bit early. It was probably like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a little bit hot, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to puncture the spaghetti squash all the way around so that I can cut it, and then I'm going to scoop out all of the seeds from the inside. The easiest way to cut a spaghetti squash once it is warmed in the microwave is to cut small slits around the entire squash. Then use your knife to carefully connect all of the lines to fully open the squash. It's already set to 400 degrees, so I'm going to go ahead and get the spaghetti squash and the chickpeas into the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up my onion. This is a really big onion, so I'm probably only going to use about 1/4 of it. I'm going to chop it up real thinly and get started on cooking the sausage and the kale and the onion. So while the spaghetti squash is baking in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and start the kale and sausage mixture that we're going to put into it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn our our stove to medium heat. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of olive oil. And while that heats up, I'm actually going to add in the onion that I chopped up. So I chopped it up using a little chopper that I have from Pampered Chef. I only used about 1/4 of that large onion that I have. So the recipe calls for 2 whole cloves of garlic minced, but I just used the already minced garlic, so I'm actually just going to put 2 teaspoons in. That should be about 2 cloves. So we'll go ahead and add that to our onion. So while it heats up, I'm going to go ahead and open up our Italian-style turkey sausage so that we can get that cooked up and ready for the mixture. cooking the sausage, I am using a tool called the Mix and Chop. The Mix and Chop is super helpful in helping to get all of the either ground beef or the ground turkey, and in this case our turkey sausage, nice and crumbled and ready to put into our mixture. I'm also going to take the chickpeas out of the oven. They've been in the oven for 20 minutes at 350 degrees. So I just pulled out the chickpeas out of the oven. They look nice and crispy. So now while they're hot, I'm actually going to add the everything bagel seasoning on top of it. Just add as much just for whatever your taste is. You can also add any other seasonings you like. If you like hot seasonings, you can do cayenne pepper and chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder. So these are really versatile. So just kind of toss them all together. And you just let them cool. They should be nice and crispy. And then when you're going to want to store them in an airtight container, and they'll probably keep for about a week. In order to prep the kale before I put it into our sausage mixture, I want to tear off all of the leafy greens. I don't really want any of the fibrous stems that the kale grows on. I'm going to go ahead and take the spaghetti squash out of the oven. I have baked it for 45 minutes at 400 degrees. You want to make sure that your spaghetti squash is cooked thoroughly so that the strands of spaghetti squash come out easily. Now that our sausage and our onion and our garlic is all nice and sauteed up, I'm going to go ahead and add all of the kale into here. So we want this to wilt and get nice, and we want it to keep that green color though. And I already have in here, I have half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, so I'm just going to sprinkle it all on top. The salt is going to help draw the water out of the kale to wilt it a little bit. While I let that kale wilt excuse me, with the sausage, I'm going to go ahead and turn over my spaghetti squash. As you can see, the spaghetti squash is already starting to get stringy, like noodles. All you have to do now is just use your fork. You just gently scrape the sides of it, and the spaghetti squash noodles just come right out. So as you can see, the kale is starting to wilt down. So I'm going to go ahead and start moving all that sausage and the onion mixture and incorporate it all together. Let's see, get some kale jumping out here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the breakfast casserole. It is a Whole30 recipe, and all three of these recipes I will make sure that I link down in the description. So this one has a layer of hash browns, it has turkey sausage, it has eggs, and then it has a gravy that is made out of whole milk or whole fat coconut milk. So you just use the canned coconut milk because the coconut milk in the carton is not the whole fat coconut milk. So I'm going to go ahead and start by spraying a 9x13 Pyrex with some cooking spray. I just don't want anything to stick. So I just use the already shredded hash browns or the frozen hash browns that I just get at Walmart. The recipe calls for a pound, and this is a pound and 10 ounces. I usually use about half of it though, just so that I can make it again another time. Okay, so this recipe calls for 6 eggs, and the seasoning that I have, it is half a teaspoon of everything. It's half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and half a teaspoon of onion powder. So I'm going to go ahead and get my eggs cracked into the bowl, and then I will whisk them with the seasoning. Okay, so that now that all of our prep is done, I'm going to go ahead and fry up our turkey sausage. It is the turkey breakfast sausage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Once all of that is together and incorporated, I'm going to pour over my coconut milk. I'm going to bring the temperature down, and then I'm going to excuse me, sweetheart. And then I'm going to stir it all up. When you're making the gravy for this, you want to make sure that you add lots of pepper to it. The last thing that has to be done is we're going to go ahead and get our turkey breakfast sausage cooked up. Once that is all cooked up, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of cornstarch on top of the meat. This is going to help our gravy thicken with the coconut milk. The actual recipe calls for arrowroot powder, but cornstarch does the same thing, and that makes it not totally Whole30, but I'm okay with that. Definitely use pork sausage as well. I just wanted to use turkey sausage because I was already buying turkey sausage for the spaghetti squash. So I thought we would just try with turkey sausage today. I have done it before with pork sausage, and it does come out really good. Okay, so the sausage is pretty much cooked. There's still a couple pieces that need to cook up a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and put in my 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Like I said, this is gonna help thicken our gravy when we put in our coconut milk. That's nice and incorporated. I'm gonna go ahead and pour in the full fat coconut milk. Don't be surprised if it comes out in a big kind of blob, because that's just how it comes in the can. This one's also been sitting out on the counter, and the house is a little warm. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and combine everything. So we prepped these frozen hash browns earlier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get our sausage mixture. We're gonna pour it all over the top of our hash browns. Once your sausage mixture is thoroughly cooked, you're going to want to pour it over your hash browns. Then get your eggs that you have already whisked in your bowl and pour it over the hash browns and the sausage mixture. Go ahead and put this in the oven for 45 minutes at 400 degrees. Don't worry if you insert a toothpick once you take your casserole out if it doesn't come out clean. The gravy won't allow it to come out clean, but it will be tasty and all the way cooked. So those are all the meals that I was able to cook for you all. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments if you make any of these and if it is something that you like. As always, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and comment, and I will see you in my next video.